Hello and welcome. This is Carole. I'm introducing my Divinely Inspired Unleash Your Hidden Possibilities Entrepreneurial program. And I want to thank you for being here. This is all about intentional entrepreneurship. And I'm not sure why I'm always stumbling on that word, but it's all about creating that intention for yourself and for your business. So the program is going to be composed of 13 modules that we're going to carry through from October 2nd to April 2nd. Because of the holidays and all of that, it's expanding it to about 6 months worth of time. And I'm offering some bonuses. So one of the bonus is the Intentional Entrepreneurship. We're going to receive 52 weekly inspiring messages with home play. And you're going to also receive, I made for you to use social media posts, 52 of them, so you can engage your customers or clients with you. And you can also personalize them if you like. And I have created a deck that some of you may already have in your hands. And I appreciate the support in that. But I also created it as a virtual version so that I can share it with you, and you can also do the inner work. And it's going to be really important that if you're really wanting to get the most out of this program is to do that inner work. The introspection is very valuable because you get to really know who you are. And that I know for me, going through my own, it's kind of like my journey on paper, the I Am deck. And going through that really helped me to see who I am, what I have to offer, how I can best share of myself. And going through the Divinely Inspired program, the entrepreneurial program, it really has moved me into a space of creation. I've created so much in the last 2 years, and I've called them my foundation years, because it's all about putting in all together, and now it's really sharing everything out. So I've already run this program before, and back in 2008, end of 2018, early 2019, and it's made a really big difference for a few of us. So I'm really excited to share it again, and it has been expanded. So you're going to get a lot more material, a lot more support in terms of clarity, because without clarity, we don't know where we're going. So it's going to help you create not only that intention, but also make it more palpable and more visible for you to take action steps. I love this terminology. I came upon it through someone's Facebook post, and I kind of went in and kind of searched a little bit more about it. So apparently it's the article that I read from J Block, and it's become a fearless possibilitarian and discover all that is possible for you by attempting the impossible, because the impossible is actually very possible. So for me, I related back to unleashing your hidden possibilities, in the sense that I needed to really see what was dormant within me, what was that I didn't know I had, what are the skills, what are the integrity or the authenticity of me, where if I connected to my heart, what was I wanting to create, and what was I wanting to share with other people. So it's really, I love this terminology because it's also not only fearless, because I grew up very fearful. So I love the terminology of being fearless, because for me, doing this work and expanding on my own self has really created that sense of, there's nothing to fear. And it's a big deal from where I came from. And so I'm really excited to use this terminology in the sense, because it's really about knowing, it's really deepening that knowing that there are so many possibilities. And once you uncover what has been dormant or hidden, you really have access to so much more of yourself. And the more you're connected with yourself, the more you're going to be able to expand and really contribute your heart to other people through your business. So it's really going to give you a lot of clarity. So I can't, and it's really about bringing the invisible to the visible. Someone told me with my art, with what I'm doing, this is kind of what I do, is, you know, bringing the invisible to the visible. And I really love that as well. And for me, it's the same thing as bringing the impossible to the possible, because once you tap into that, then it becomes possible and it becomes palpable. So I'm excited. So of course, we have a little bit of disclaimer that, you know, this is for educational and informational purposes only. These statements have not been evaluated by the agencies. I'm not here to diagnose, treat, or cure any or prevent any diseases. You are a willing participant. There are no guarantees in the sense of how you're going to be shifting. I know you're going to be shifting. I just don't know. Everybody's unique, and it depends of, you know, the amount of what you might resonate with my one module better than another module, but at the same time, it's going to be you're going to see changes within yourself and within your environment. So I'm really excited to be able to provide this support for you. I am a holistic integrative wellness practitioner. I have a lot of different modalities under my belt. I feel like sometimes I'm Mary Poppins with my bag of tools. And I am not a medical provider, and I'm not a substitute for you checking in with your medical provider. So I just want to make sure that I only serve as a trainer, educator, coach, mentor, and guide who's providing education and learning opportunities. So we'll talk a little bit more about the disclaimer, the full disclaimer, when we go through the program. It's just for legal purposes. So my name is Carole Franck. I'm a French native originally, but I've been here over almost 40 years now. And I come from a generations of entrepreneurs. So I have a lot to, it's really embedded, I'm ingrained, I live, breathe, so is my family. We are all entrepreneurs. I had pretty early training. As a child, when I was 7, I had a baking club, so I was collecting money, and then we would take our group, whoever was participating, we went to the grocery store with the money that we raised, and then we would buy the ingredients, come back to our house, to our place of business, and then we would bake, and then we would enjoy what we baked. I used to also, we used to have a big restaurant, and in the park area, after people had their lunch, they could come and linger. We had like a cafe terrace type of thing with a mini bowling alley. So I was in charge of the terrace. So I had my little serving apron, and I had my tip jar, and I had my serving tray, and I would serve beers and orangina and all kinds of stuff. And so I always made my money very early on, very, very young. I always had to be working, and our parents always put us to work. So I have a lot of work ethics. I've been here. I used to run my father's business with my brother. We used to all work together, a food business, French food. And I wore many, many hats. I mean, it's, you know, from bookkeeping to hiring people to delivering if the driver was not showing up. Before we hired a driver, my brother and I were the delivery people. Always on our way home. Why don't you drop this off on our way home? So there's always something to be dropped off, and then we hired a driver. But if the driver wasn't showing up, then it would fall onto us to deliver the products. I also did shipping. We used to ship nationwide, and we used to ship, you know, small boxes, but also 300-pound boxes that needed to be dropped off at the airport. I've dealt with USDA, FDA, and local authorities for health purposes, So I've worn many hats. If the dishwasher didn't show up, I ended up being the dishwasher for that day. So really, I had to be very versatile, always constantly, putting the customer first. So whatever needed to be done, we did. So I also did the marketing, and I was also part of the accounting receivables. So just the payroll, all these other things that we have to do as small businesses. Then my daughter, then in 2008, we stopped the business. My father moved overseas, and my priority was to raise my daughter. So I didn't really engage into full time for my business until close to the end of 2017. She moved out of the school of my house, and then went off to college cross country. In 2008, 2009, I ended up being very sick at the end of the small business, because it was very physical. I used to have to prepare. Sometimes because of all the big shipments that we had, it was easy for us to carry, over a ton of products. So my arms, my body was very exhausted. And so when it was in 2008, it was kind of a welcoming that I was going to be able to rest, rebuild my body, and but also find myself in a position where I had to recreate myself, because I was very uncertain of my future. So I went on my spiritual path to heal myself, and ended up creating this healing practice. I was mixing nutrition, holistic and nutrition, because that's the food is what I knew. But then, looking at my own habits and this and that, I ended up going more of a tangent of healing. So this is how I've come about to here where I am today. I do have a degree with double majoring in management and marketing from George Mason University, but it's many years ago. So a lot of things have changed. I find myself to be an intuitive. I'm pretty soulful in the sense that I want to really connect with myself and do what always show up as my best version. I'm witty, creative, committed to my clients and their own transformation. I want to inspire others to take responsibility for themselves. I was shown this image of a tape player. Some of you probably don't even know what that looks like anymore, but and then one of the button was replay, and then the button was reset. And so it's really up to us to, with releasing the conditioning, the programming, the old beliefs that we may hold, to really have an opportunity to reset. And as you do your internal work, inner work, you're going to be your personal self-development. It's going to really affect the way that you approach your business, because it's going to be more heart-centered. I really believe that changing the inward is creating the outward that you want for yourself. So it's not the other way around. Is changing the environment is not going to help. It might help, but it's not. You have to do the inner work. So it starts within. And so this whole program is based on co-creation with spirit, to really look at what's inside and change what needs to be changed, in the sense that it's not that things need to be fixed, but it's about becoming a better version of ourselves. So spirit reminded me to use my assets, and my assets is to really show you what, as an entrepreneur and as my own look at, I've taken my experience as running a business, and I looked at all the aspects of what can I do to be even better at what I was doing. So this program is really, I really looked at some areas of where I felt like I was not necessarily lacking, but where I could expand. So it's emerging with my skills, it's emerging of my experiences, practical knowledge, because, you know, we're part of a system. It's about my own healing and self-reflective work. Everything is I'm always claim that I'm my best client, because whatever I'm offering, I've done it first. And it's really about unleashing those hidden possibilities, the invisible to the visible, for you to tap into your potentiality. So there's so much more out there, and we want to tap into that. There's so many resources that that we have, but we are just not aware of them. So it's about creating that self-awareness and expansion. So really, it's about, you know, what's stopping you, and is it doubt? Are there the belief system that you have? You know, have you found your voice? I know for me, my father was very authoritative, so my brother and I didn't really have a voice, so that really affected the way that we grew up. And you know, you also, your state of being, if you're happy or if you're sad, or, you know, wherever you are. And you always find that the worst, we are our worst enemy. So how are we stopping ourselves in creating what we want to create for ourselves? I love this quote from Osho. I really resonate with Osho's sayings. And this one is, drop the idea of becoming someone, because you already are a masterpiece. You cannot be improved. You have only to come to it, to know it, to realize it. So this is what I want to do for you through this program, is for you to come to it, to know it, and to realize it, and then to utilize it. So this is really what I wish for you to do, is whatever is dormant in there, whatever is boiling on the inside that wants to come out and is ready to come out, for it to be allowed to come out. So it's about peeling off the layers to get to the gem of you. This is what I really believe. It's about creating that space of honoring, to be creating that space of quiet and stillness, so that you can hear the messages, you can hear your heart song, you can connect to it, and you can be following the guidance, following your intuition, increasing your intuition, and really allowing to bring out what is on the inside, to come to just make it alive, to you know, give it a life. So I really believe that the program helps you to be more fully body, mind, soul, and spirit. It's that integration, and in becoming that fearless possibilitarian. I'm still dealing with a bad haircut, so I'm sorry about that. So what I may ask of you is to have an open mind to what you may not know or have experienced or remember, and to remain an observer throughout the program, to embrace the concept that your soul is eternal. Thus, it's giving us access to a pool of untapped information and resources. So I work a lot on, you know, I lead groups for Akashic Records, for you to tap into your history. And then we can tap into that as terms of, you know, what were your talents in past lives and what you can bring in this lifetime. So, and then also being more connected to the universe, we have that pool of information and resources. So we're going to, you know, really connect to that as part of our expansion. Accept that everything is energy, and so we can change. So we're looking at the epigenetics in terms of more of, you know, the environment that we create for ourselves has a lot more impact than inherited DNA, for example, the genes that they talk about. So really nurturing an environment on the inside to nurture and create that environment on the outside to really hold you and allow you to create the reality that you want for yourself. Being an openness to the possible influences of past lives. because there's themes that we can, through soul, I call it soul resonance or family resonance, is like, what's the theme that you've noticed? For me, it was a lot of the female we allowed ourselves to be victimized. So this is one of the things that really challenged me to work on myself so that I would no longer be a victim. We're going to deepen our connection to spirit, and I have no denomination specific. I'm not part of any organized religious groups or affiliation, so I'm open-minded to whatever comes. And we're going to contemplate the idea that what you have maybe taught is not necessarily your truth. So this one was really a big deal for me, as I had to really look at what I was taught and how I was taught, and how that impacted me. And but it's not necessarily my truth. It's not, people define me in a certain way, and I needed to discover who I am. I also want you to be very committed. You will need to drink more water throughout this whole process and rest when needed. Some of the modules are going to be very intense. So, just really be tuned into your body and listen to it and rest when you need it. So that's kind of why I scheduled it on Saturday, because most people are free on Sundays, and then they can listen to their bodies. And if you call to go walk in nature, go walk in nature. If you're wanting to sleep, and you give yourself the time to sleep. As you go through this program, you will experience a greater sense of self. You're going to be a lot more attuned to your body, because we are going to be connecting to our bodies. Greater sense of confidence, greater joy, greater clarity. That the purpose of this is to really help you gain clarity. So a lot of extra resources are going to help you do that as well. Personal power, depending on where you are with that, it's definitely going to allow you to create that sense of choice from a higher perspective, from a higher consciousness and self-awareness. So by that, you're always going to be, and as you're connecting more to your heart and to your intuition, it's going to be, I really believe that when you're operating from your heart, there's no compromise. So it's going to be a lot easier to make the choices and to take the direction that you need. And also to create this a greater sense of living on your purpose and based on your intention. So you're again, it's going to be about the clarity of what are you intending to do, and what is the energy behind the intention, because this is very important. So changes in aspect of your life. So, I'm not sure how everyone is going to be changing, but I know for me and for the past participant, there's a lot of changes. I mean, if you, a friend has completely changed her life after going through this process. She thought she wanted to be a self-employed and creating this project. But she just completely changed her life. So I just be open to more, just be open to be in more alignment with what you're wanting for yourself. I really believe that it's going to bring in easier manifestation, more synchronicity, more alignment to what you're wanting to create for yourself. It's going to help you live from a sense of more integrity. Your word is your wand. Your word has value. And by honoring your word, you are honoring you, and you're living in integrity. So then you become a better role model and a better example as how you lead your life for yourself, for your loved one, and then for the people around you and your clients. You're living your truth. You're living, you're walking walk the talk. I think that's the statement. Definitely heightened intuition, because we're going to be connecting more and more and more into your heart center and soul's calling. Your interests, hobbies, purpose may be reshaped, may be taking on new life. For me, I did not know that I could be creative with digital art, and that came about 2.5 years now. I started. The I Am deck was kind of like the first inclination that I could do something. And then it just, things have evolved as I've been doing more connection, inner work, and deeper connection to the higher realms. So I'm really loving what I'm doing. So clearer priorities. So then it becomes, what is important, what is not, what are you wanting for yourself, where you're not. So it's really going to help you clear out some of the things that you may not want to be doing, or it's going to allow you to also have more clarity as to where your resistance is in some of the tasks, what you're willing to compromise with, what you're willing to delegate based on what you're wanting to do for yourself. So, and then of course, freedom to be you. That's the ultimate goal, and that's the ultimate prize. So as you go through this program, you'll be creating a space for yourself of being more aware, awakened, and mindful, being more centered. Not, you're going to be able to manage that roller coaster ride. Sometimes we have those waves of I call them like self-pity, and then we'll rise up again, or we lose our momentum, and then we got to try to catch up that ride up again. So all of this is going to help you master that roller coaster ride, because then you always have to ask yourself, well, what am I choosing to do right now, and how do I need to show up? And so sometimes, I'll do the self-pity, but those moments are rare now. It's and if they do, they don't last very long, because I have that ability to say, you know what, this is not serving me. Why do I need to stay in that? It's not, there's no purpose to it, and it's not in alignment with who I want to be right now. So it's going to allow you to be more in flow with things, with people, with situations. So I find for myself that it's really has created those moments of synchronicity that creates this playfulness. To me, that's I do everything to be happier, to be more joyful, to be an inspiration for others, to bring that magical aspect and all those synchronicity. For me, it's kind of like that little magical, and then also knowing that I am supported, I am not alone in all of this. So it becomes fun. It becomes, I call it a game. You can call it whatever you want for yourself, but it's a playful game of you're, and then it's validation also, because as you're going through the process, that when you have that little validation, it's like, okay, I'm on the right path. I'm building faith as the process. Being in flow allows you to create more faith into what you're doing and how you're supposed to be showing up and contributing. And of course, being in alignment with your soul song, your purpose. It's going to allow you to be more open to inner spiritual guidance, because you're going to have little rituals that will allow you to quiet the inner voices and to hear what is important. So for me, one of the biggest things that I had to learn was discernment, because I used to ignore my body's senses, and I used to ignore it because I give benefit of the doubt to everyone, and I ignored some of the red flags, which got me in trouble. So by being more receptive to my inner and spiritual guidance, I'm also a lot more in tune to my body, And that was what really helped me build discernment. It's like, I can't ignore those feelings. I can't ignore, I'm very clairsentient. So that's the first, and then I'll hear and then I'll see, but the clairsentience is very strong for me. So I cannot ignore those signs when I'm meeting someone. It's like, there's something off here. Let me not go there. So I have to respect that. So it's about that honoring, learning to listen to the body, listen to the messages. And so you're going to expand on that. Of course, as we're expanding and releasing, we're going to open the field of receiving. So when receiving, whatever you need to receive. So it could be support, it could be kindness, it could be love, it could be whatever it is that you're needing at that moment. Be open for it to show up and be in unexpected ways, because sometimes we very narrow-minded as to how it needs to show up, and really the how is not our control. We're always going to be more in our heart space in everything that we say, do, create, and touch. So this is where that part of the intention is what is the energy behind the intention, behind what you're creating. So we're going to be very mindful of that. For me, I always approach life as a struggle because that's all I knew. That's how I, that's what it is. It's like I always said, I'm taking the hard road, and it doesn't have to be. So now it's more, again, we talk about that flow. So it's more about being that, releasing the resistance to whatever task, or looking at, why are we resisting, and why are we putting stumbling blocks on our path. So life does not necessarily need to be a struggle. There's always going to be something showing up. I'm not saying that you can't, but the way that you react to it and the way you handle it is going to be completely different. Because as you're more in tune, you're going to know what you need. And of course, we're creating responsibility. And then with you taking responsibility for you, you're also allowing others to become responsible for themselves. And the ultimate is we're operating from choice. So what is that choice that's going to serve you best in this moment? We're going to change the vibration. That's going to be part of natural process as we're shifting things and as we're expanding. You're going to experience some shifts. I just don't know what kind of shifts you're going to experience, but I know that you are going to experience some shifts. What worked may no longer work for you. So you might be a little bit uncomfortable, or, find yourself in discomfort times, but you have to trust that it is for your highest good. And it's going to allow you to look at what is being presented and, again, how you're going to react to it. You're also not going to be able to enable others to stay where they're at as you're changing. So again, it comes back to choice and looking at it from an observant perspective. Why is this showing up, and how am I enabling this? So, it's going to make you kind of question yourself in many areas. And we know that everything that we're doing, so my intention, I always have pure intentions in my work. And so my intention is always to come from a space where this is for your highest good as well as the highest good of others. So we're always in alignment with that, and we're supported by 100% pure light beings to support us in that process. So the entrepreneurial program is comprised of 13 modules. I'm offering 3 price options to optimize your success. We're going to have bi-monthly calls over a 6-month period. Because of the holidays in November, we're only going to have 1 call. Each call is about 90 minutes to maybe 2 hours, sometimes because we have a lot of statements, and it's going to be via Zoom. I really want you to be present, so no distractions, no driving for sure, because you're going to be in a higher state of consciousness, and I want you to really tune in. So no, you got, ideally is you're at home in your sacred space, allowing for this unfolding to happen. The new session is going to start October 2nd, and we're going to be carrying it through until April 2nd. Option 2 will have the recording if you wanted to have the recording, so that way you have the opportunity to listen to them, because as you're shifting, we're shifting on a cellular level. And so it's, you don't have to necessarily be on the live calls. If you miss the live calls, you have access to the replays if you purchase option 2. And that gives you also the opportunity to re-listen, because just like when you're reading a book, the second time around, you're going to read it differently, or you're going to catch some of the things that you were not ready to catch the first time around. So second time around, you're changing something else. So it's about layering, what are you ready to release right now? And then as you re-listen and re-listen, you're releasing more and more and more. So it's getting you closer to that step. And so we're going to be, this is the schedule. We're going to have 3 calls because there's 5 weeks in October. So it's going to be spread out this way. And I'm looking to see at the end of the call, but I'm also looking to see maybe like mid-January, end of January, maybe adding a Q&A call as well. You're going to get those weekly inspirational emails. You're going to get emails after each modules to allow you to journal and expand on what we worked on. We're going to have the private face group for you to connect with if you're interested in doing that. And so you're going to be supported through the process, and then the extra resources are going to be really helpful also. So module 1, we're going to look at calling in the divine feminine. We're going to call on the divine feminine all through the process of this program, because we are in the age of Aquarius, which is more the new age of more nurturing than what we've been in before. So it's about looking at, with our action being more heart-centered, and how can we serve better from that space. We're going to look at cord cutting, soul retrieval, releasing vows. We're going to set the intention. We're going to look at whatever, if there are interferences, and I also have created a claim that you're welcome to use. So I will be sending that as an image that we can we connect with. And I call it setting up the stage, because this is kind of what, we kind of have to sweep things out first, and then we're creating that fertile soil to create something different. Module 2, we're going to look at hidden ego agendas, and then we're going to transmute hindering self-imposed limitations, beliefs related to self-esteem, confidence. In module 3, we're going to deal with judgments. We're going to look at self-judgments, gender roles. I know for me, I'm not sure if it's part of it is cultural, from being from France. So there's a lot of it's changed, I'm sure, in the last 40 years. But the way I grew up was, the male was authoritative. The male was the I don't want to say dictator, but in the sense that what he said goes. So I was always excuse me. So the gender is, the woman is in the kitchen kind of still mindset, and then the man is the provider. So it's about, depending where you're coming from, what your background is, and this and that, you might have some of those beliefs. Where is the place of the woman within society and things like that. So we're going to look at gender roles and what beliefs are out there. We're going to be addressing about 50 judgments, statements that I have identified that are limiting us. Module 4, fear. So for me, this one was a big one because I grew up very trying to protect myself every second of my life. So so it's looking at, you know, what's holding us back in terms of being able to tackle anything in our business and in life. And we're going to be looking at, you know, moving forward on the path of growth. So what is in the way of that? Module 5, there's a lot of stigma or a lot of you need to have the degrees or you need to be this in order to do that and this and that. So we're gonna look at education. We're gonna look at skills and knowledge, and so that you can start where you are. We don't need to have, you know, 1,000 things. We can start with 10 things. So, and you're always going to be expanding. So, you know, and it's about also realizing your skills and talents. So you're going to have some extra resources in that to look at what do you have. Support. We're going to be addressing some limiting beliefs, paradigms, or programming about support. And we're going to be widening our vision from a limited reality. So for me, what was really interesting is part of my lesson is I've experienced a lot of abandonment and rejection through my childhood and growing up. And there's been circumstances where I was left behind, or my mom left without, you know, telling me where she was going and this and that. So I understood that I needed to go through those experiences, and I needed to, like my daughter chose to move cross country to go study. So I really find myself physically alone, and my family being outside of, you know, my mom is in France, my dad is overseas in another country, and my brother is in a different state as well. So nobody's really close to me. So I was, quote, physically alone, but within that is I understood that it was necessary so that I could go deeper and heal what needed healing, which was this abandonment issues and this and that, and then realize that I have access to that intangible support. That is what has brought me to here I am today, is that, and now that I understand that, then the physical support is coming in. So until I understood that, then I was going to keep attracting the people that I did not need, you know, the predators, the users, the takers, and the abusers. And then but with that intangible support, it helped me build faith, and it helped me build belief within me that I could have that with that stillness. I could hear the messages, I could feel the red flags, and then make the best decision for me. So I needed to, I don't want to say isolate, but in that solitude, it just allowed me to really look at what I needed to look. So again, it's about that introspection. And then the vision, you know, widening your vision based on the limited perspective, limited reality that you have created. So for me, I felt that I was because other people have defined me and put me in the box, I had to really break those walls of that box and really look at what's out there in terms of not only tangible but intangible. So I have access to that pool of information from the universe. You know, this is, I'm co-creating with the universe. So it's fascinating and it's beautiful and it's limitless. Now we are going to be doing a module on money. So the first time when I ran this program, I realized that one module was not enough. So I separated as money and then finances. So the next one is going to be finances. And we're going to be looking at over 90 limiting beliefs about money, because we all have our story about money. And it's tied into unworthiness and all of that kind of stuff. Or, you know, where are we on the lack spectrum? You know, scarcity. We're also going to be looking at what kind of ceiling have we created for ourselves. And we're going to create vast and unlimited abundance. Then in the finance, to me, finance is different than money in the sense that finances is like how you're managing your finance, so how you're connected to your finance. And so we're going to be looking at that. And I was called to add some I Ching messages to that. So I still haven't defined exactly the messages, because what I do is I look at who's in the group, and then I look at what would be more beneficial for as a group. So I'm waiting for the people to be part of the program to be able to identify what will serve us best in terms of those messages. So this is to come. Next one is organization. I know for myself, I had to create discipline. I was not born organized. My daughter is very organized, and so skipped a generation there. Don't know where she got that from. But my parents were very disorganized, so I could see some of the habits. I have repeated some of their habits. But so we're going to be looking at how can we become more organized, in the sense that it's going to support us getting that clarity. And out of that, I expanded on a form that I use a lot to empty out the chatter in there, to see it on paper, and then seeing it on paper helps me define what are my next action steps. How can I expand this? What goes where? I have used that form in the multitude of ways to help me get organized in not only in my head, but also in the actions that I have to take, or that I want to take. And we're also going to be looking at balancing the yin and yang, so the masculine and feminine energy. So masculine is about action, doing, and then the feminine is about the nurturing. So it's putting those two together to create that heart-centered entrepreneurship, and in more of a looking at the energy of the intention behind all the actions. Clients, we're going to call to see how we can maximize and optimize our client attraction, as well as what could be in the way of that. Running a business, some people are afraid to, because there's so many aspects of running a business, that I kind of looked at what could be in the way of that. Because I even though I didn't feel like I was very self-confident, I was very confident in running the business. I knew exactly what needed. I had the foresight. I could see further. I could envision. I could almost predict what people needed in the business very early on. When you're working in catering, you're kind of, or restaurant, you're kind of anticipating what the clients want. So you're looking at body language, you're looking at cues and this and that. So I have this ability to see further than what is right in front of me. So I kind of looked at what could be in the way of running a business. And then we're going to do quantum clearing. So for right now, I was very inclined to do physical space, but I know that I have to look a little bit deeper as to what needs to be clearing for each of the participants. So we'll go back to that when we go through the module. Module 12 is about anchoring intention and spiritual alignment. And in that, we're going to be doing energizing spinal gateways. So those are points along the spines that I have to identify to see what would be best serve us. So a lot of us in the spiritual service industry have maybe this idea that we're here to save others, and that could be in the way of us not performing in the best possible way and in our highest good, because it is not our role to save others. So that could be an obstacle for you to get to where you need to be in the way that you want to impact others. So, because again, it's about, you're only responsible for you. You're not responsible for anyone else. You can open doors, help them, support them in many ways, but they have to do their own work as well. So allowing for that expansion within us, we allow other people to do the same. Then during the module 13, I'm going to run some of those specific areas. Like the other has a lot of different things in there, which we're going to be working on in that module itself. So I'm going to be asking you to bring in some of those resources there. I'm sharing a lot of, so the journal is going to be every module, you're going to have a journal emailed out to you so that you can record your insight as to what has occurred. And you have 2 weeks, in between each module. So that should give you plenty of time to look at that. And it's going to be helping you to keep momentum and to keep you accountable. Then we have, I'm going to help you. I've designed some questions and forms about, branding, how you're working with yourself in that, clarifying your vision based on your intention, how you're carrying your vision. I'm sharing a planner that I've designed, and then a lot of forms. So that form has been moved around, shifted, created, expanded, this and that, but it's all about giving you clarity, putting it on paper and giving you clarity into what needs done and what would best serve you. Then these are just the bottom right here, the intentional entrepreneurship. Those are samples of emails that I'm going to be sending out every week. And in that, I'll be asking you some questions. And I really encourage you to use the I Am deck, the virtual version, to help you expand in many areas. So, it's I am, and then there's a word, there's an affirming statement, and then there's a question. So if you were to tie it into the entrepreneurship, your intention as an entrepreneur as to what you're wanting to create. For me, I keep asking myself the question: who do I need to be, or how do I need to show up in order to be able to deliver this? So this tool is going to really help you deepen your understanding of you, and ultimately help you be more showing up in the best version when you're dealing with your business and how you're wanting to contribute, and the authenticity and the integrity of you as you conduct your business. So there's 3 options that are going to be offered. So in option 1, you're going to have the 13 modules, live calls every 2 weeks. Like I said, 90 minutes to 2 hours. Bonus 1 is those inspirational emails plus the home play for 1 year. The bonus 2 is for you to share. You're going to have 52 social media posts that are going to be shared as JPEG, which you can import into any program and then just personalize. Bonus 3 is the virtual version of the I Am Oracle deck, which is a journey of empowerment, which will help you further your introspection and growth and get to know who you are. And we're going to have the private group. So that's option 1. Option 2 will be option 1 plus the 13 calls. And you will benefit from the same as being on the live call. But again, having those replays will expand and help you grow and shift more as you re-listen. So it could be the best option. And then the last option, what I've done is option 1 and option 2. So you get, all of the modules, the bonuses. Option 2, you get the replays. And option 3, you get 3 private sessions with me that they're like 60 minutes sessions, which can be used as, coaching, clarity, healing, mastermind, planning, addressing hindrances. If you have identified like a theme and you can't seem to be able to get over that stepping stone, then we can look at that. My work is very integrative, very intuitive. So I'm open to supporting you in that way. And it's for you to be more in alignment with who you need to be in your entrepreneurship. So let's jump over the hurdles. Let's clear the path. I oftentimes in meditations, I always see a clear path in front of me. And that's the coolest image that I can have, because everything had been such one obstacle after the next that now having that clear path is really encouraging, and I just keep putting one foot in front of the other. And it's about, taking that leap sometimes. Those are some of what past participants have shared with me going through the program. So thank you, Carole. In tonight's session, I saw how I have been creating out of my past. Thank you for talking about it. I gained a new level of awareness. Thank you. I'm grateful. I ask, would you recommend this to others and why? Yes, because I didn't understand the impact of my fear and why it was showing up in several areas of my life, especially my business. How would you describe this program to someone you're recommending it to? Deep personal beliefs, spirituality, and even psychology are hardly ever touched on in business. Open your mind truly and do the introspective work Carole guides you through, and you will get the insights and empowerment the program promises. It worked for me, and I was very skeptical. This one was from someone that was very corporate, and so it's really amazing to see where she's at today. What have you gained from participating in this program is I believe that I've gained freedom from unconscious beliefs, etc., that can bind us. So really it's everybody's touched differently. So those are the pricing options that you can find on my website. And this is the link there, soulfuljoyfulLiving.com/intentional-entrepreneurship/entrepreneurship-program//. So, and I am also offering some scholarships. So if you're really interested in this program, but money can be a little bit of an issue, then we can definitely talk. I'll be open to supporting you, as I want you to succeed. So you can contact me at hello@soulfuljoyfulliving.com. That's the email to connect with me. I also just recently, if you want to get to know me a little bit more, I was part of a guest podcast. So when, as you would have it, I wanted to talk about clarity, and I had shared some talking points with her, but things kind of took a different turn. So the description might not necessarily apply to what is being said in the podcast. However, there's some good insights and openness. I'm very open in terms of my talk with her. So that could be one way for you to get to know me a little bit more. And what else is available? So I've recently So I've been doing artwork, posting artwork on Society 6, which I've actually in my house have one of those credenzas. This is not the actual one that I have in there, but it's a really cool, nice piece of furniture. So having my artwork in my living room is pretty cool in the way that it is. So they have furniture, they can create tapestries, mugs, and what I do is I can create custom artwork for people, upload it to that, and then they can order totes for their retreats. They can order mugs and tumblers, and even you know, like for yoga studios, they can order murals, they can order the credenza, they can order yoga mats, you know, whatever, leggings. So it's pretty cool, all the offerings there. The Revering Life in this is clothing line from my designs into dresses, scarves, fabric, tapestries. It's a Canadian company called Le Galeriste, and this will take you to their site, into my shop. So it's pretty cool to see my designs in beautiful dress and pants and stuff like that, and shawls. So that's pretty exciting to me. And I also make custom oils or oil blends or body care products, and also have my line of body care products. So you're welcome to visit. That is all to support and to create this higher vibration within you, to be more in alignment with who you are, and to really be able to create from that space of expansion, openness, and connection to higher dimensions. So thank you for watching. Thank you for considering the program. I hope to see you in the program. We start soon. So if you have any questions, please contact me at hello@Soulful Joyful Living. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to supporting you. Bye.